Today's episode of the Cedric A. Phillips podcast is brought to you by Shane McMahon, because why the hell not? Guy just is bulletproof, never loses, and you know what? If I don't bring this podcast from him, he might kick my ass and pin me with a spear or have Drew McIntyre claymore me. Anybody else tired of Shane O'Mac? It was so awesome when he came back, but now it's starting to become a little bit much. That's all I'm gonna say. We talked about Shane. We talked about Stomping Grounds. We talked about WWE hiring Eric Bischoff and Paul Heyman to be the executive directors of SmackDown and Raw, which is pretty wild. We talked about Seth Rollins honestly kind of being a bit of a douchebag on social media recently. And a whole bunch more has happened over the past handful of days that me and Joey Bags got to sit down and talk about. Glad to be back here in Seattle and doing a little bit of recording. My summer is finally slowing down a little bit, so I'm going to have a Magic podcast out next week as well. But for now, we want to put your attention on the WWE and all the things that me and Joey B have to say about it. But before we get there, we, of course, got to get to Jewel Vera, Julevera. You can find their music, of course, on Spotify, on YouTube, and wherever else you do get your tunes. We'll play a little triggity track here, and then we're going to dive right in with something that I promise you will not see coming. Enjoy the show. All right, everybody, welcome to another WWE episode of the Cedric A. Phillips podcast. I'm your host, Cedric Phillips. I'm Cedric A. Phillips on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And I am joined by, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, Heidenreich's biggest fan, Joey Bags.
Hi, Den Reich.
Heidenreich.
This guy, you talk about Dean having concave chest.
Yeah, what was with Heidenreich?
You've made fun of Dean for years about his chest. Heidenreich couldn't grow chest.
What was so weird about that is Heidenreich was completely ripped everywhere else on his body.
So, serious question. Heidenreich was 10 years ago?
I think like 15.
15?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, we've been watching wrestling too long. How many listeners do you think know who John Heidenreich is?
How many people know that he may or may not have raped Michael Cole on television?
He did.
Yeah, he did. Let's just say
he flat did.
Yeah, let's just say it.
While reading a poem, nonetheless.
Yeah, and like up against a fence or something like that.
How many people know that he was a member of the Legion of Doom?
Yeah, LOD 2003 or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
How many people know that he was the original, well, not the original, but I think the second Paul Heyman guy?
Okay, that part's probably the most insane part. Paul Heyman, like, trying to calm him down.
Do you remember the promos?
The poems?
You know his name by now. No, Heyman. Heyman's promos. Oh, you know his name by now. Heidenreich.
So that's proof right there.
He doesn't play well with others.
Yep. So first of all, people don't know, but we've been referring to Heidenreich in joking fashion for like 2 decades.
Because from the very first promo, it was absurd.
And that is proof that Paul Heyman can't get everyone over.
Well, that's true. Paul Heyman has been known to make chicken salad out of chicken shit an awful lot, but sometimes when you just have shit, you can't make anything out of it.
Well, we're going to find out if that's true, because Paul Heyman, he's got a big new role.
He sure does.
With the company, which is, well, I don't know if I'm excited about that, but I'll tell you who I am excited about. Hit it! Hit Eric Bischoff's music, the first of many times. Sing it, Bags. Sing it.
I'm back and better than ever. I don't know the rest of the words.
You don't need to, because that's the only part that matters.
But I believe like the next words are actually got a knack for making things better. Which,
well, I don't know if that's true.
I mean, we're going to find out, and I will say this. It can't be worse.
Dude, what is it like to tuck your tail between your legs and go, hey, Big Bischoff, We need you back, bud.
What's it like to tuck your tail between your legs and go, the guys that I fought 20 years ago, I'm gonna need them. I'm gonna need those guys because that's all. Like the war is coming, and they need to man up. And
these are people that were in the war.
Yeah, but the problem with it is this is like when you call back. I guess we're just gonna start talking about this a little bit, but
yeah, let's go.
I mean, this is like when you like first. All right, there's two insane things I want to bring up. One, this is like when you like call back into active duty like the 60-year-old general and expect him to defeat the 23-year-old soldier. Now the general knows a lot more, obviously, but when you get on the field of battle, well, it's kind of a mismatch the other way.
Well, is that true? Is that true? Are these guys smarter than Kenny Omega? I don't know the Jaguars owner's name, and I don't want to embarrass. I wanted to say like
it's
Shere Khan.
We'll just call him Shere Khan from the Jungle Book.
I wanted to call him like Khan from Mortal Kombat.
He could be Shao Kahn. That's also fine. I'll allow Shao Kahn. I'll allow Genghis Khan. I'll allow Shere Khan, the tiger from the Jungle Book. Any of those are fine. I think his name's
David Khan.
David Khan, the former GM of the Timberwolves. I think his name's actually Tony Khan, for what it's worth.
All right, Tony's a pretty tough name to remember, so
hey,
I understand why I made that mistake. Are they better than? Are these dudes better than him, Cody, Kenny Omega, and the Young Bucks? Like that's the question.
Are you asking me?
Right?
Are you asking me if I think they know the business better?
Yeah, sure.
Yes, I do. But I also don't know if they are going to be nimble enough to compete on the same level that if the Young Bucks and Cody, etc., are smart, they'll fight this war like Vietnam fought against the U.S. Guerrilla warfare, because they can be way more nimble. They don't have to play by the same rules. That's
why I don't like this move.
Oh, see, I think this is a great move though, because if you give these two guys tons of talent and you say, you know what we're doing clearly is not working. We need to have a singleton voice that's like the real approval and like a creative vision for this show that's not Vince McMahon. I think these are two of the better guys you could bring in. That said, why?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, that said, I mean, there are definitely some red flags here. And the other insane thing I wanted to bring up is this move reeks so much. I brought this up on the last podcast. The WWE is literally turning into 2000 WCW. This is like when they hired Russo and Ferreira. It's exactly the same thing. It's just like, well, we're going to bring these guys in. They were successful somewhere else. We're going to bring them around to try to like fix the product it might be completely broken.
Bro, how is this not like Impact hiring Bischoff and Hogan?
It's similar to that, but I think it's actually even more similar to the Russo thing, because like both of these guys have some serious flaws in their game. But at this point, like, I would rather have somebody with a serious flaw in their game than like what we're getting now, which is basically just utter like dog shit. It's like we're actually doing the full blown, like, if you give infinite monkeys infinite typewriters, eventually they would produce the works of Shakespeare. Vince is actually testing that theory right now by having 30 writers on staff. So I think that, like, just give me any direction at all and I'll be happier than what we have. Give me, like, Heyman has definitely been like a creative force behind some very good times during wrestling. SmackDown 2002 comes to mind. Original ECW was extremely, extremely good considering the limitations of the talent.
Yeah, true.
Bischoff knows how to put on. So the thing I like about the Bischoff part of this is he knows how to put on a very slick show, a very slick, like, well-produced show. And that's going to matter a lot, especially as SmackDown moves to Fox. I also think that Bischoff is an experienced TV producer in general, and is probably one of the better people to actually like have as the front to deal with like the network and stuff like that. And he knows what buttons he can push and which ones he can't. So I really like that from that perspective.
You know where this blows up for me in one very big spot. If these guys were being put in charge of developing television that wasn't TV PG, I'd be in.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a worry there, but I think especially in Heyman's case, he he worked with what he had in the past, but I think he still is an old school wrestling mentality kind of guy. And I think you can get away. The interview I always think about is when he talked about how like a finisher doesn't mean anything unless you believe the person that does it. And I think this is something that you come back to all the time. And in the interview, he says, you could have Mark Henry go out there and just do a front face lock on people. And if they sold it as devastating, you totally would believe it because Mark Henry is super strong. But like when Will Ospreay does like his convoluted shenanigans, do you really believe it hurts?
I do not.
Right.
I personally do not.
Right. So and there's a lot of people that feel the same way. And like, I think personally that the style that Heyman pushes for is something that you will enjoy a lot more. I don't know if I could say the same for Bischoff, but I do think from Heyman perspective, I think it's a much more you can be gritty without being obscene.
Well, I agree with that. I mean, it doesn't have to be, tits and ass and swearing and everything like, he did for ECW. You know what I just want? I just want good storylines, man.
How about coherent storyline?
I just want coherent storylines that make sense.
And here's the thing, right? The one thing we can definitely look forward to here is that, again, with a single person being in charge of the creative vision, I think the coherence of the storylines can't really get worse than it is right now.
Are you ready to take a little trip?
Yeah.
We're going to take a trip to the Tommy Ashton School of Booking.
Okay.
So Tommy, occasionally, friend of the podcast, he occasionally will just get mad about wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was a couple nights ago, he was just spewing storylines at me. Like
Okay.
out of like anger, it felt like.
Mm-hmm.
Not at me, but he's just like, why is this show so bad? It's really annoying.
It has,
right?
because as we've said many times, the show has no business being as bad as it has been.
I agree.
And and lifeless. It's a lifeless show.
So Tommy comes out and he sent a bunch of them to me, but this one was by far the best one.
Was one of them that he suggested that there should just be 1,000,000 2 out of 3 falls matches.
Yeah, what the hell was that? Those should be special circumstance matches. We're just throwing them away on SmackDown?
Well, you know why they're doing it, right? Or
no.
Did you miss that story?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. The reason why they're doing it is they decreed that they're not going to do wrestling during commercial breaks anymore.
Oh, so that's why they elected to do that.
So now they're doing like all this crazy wackadoodle stuff in order to not have wrestling during breaks. Like they keep doing like these things where like, and the match will be restarted as a regular tag team match after 2 teams are eliminated. So then they can go to break because the match isn't going on.
Okay, so I heard about that announcement, but I didn't put 2 and 2 together.
Isn't that insane?
That is really something.
Like, why are we jumping through such hoops to like meet some arbitrary rule that they are setting? It doesn't make any sense.
The network's not setting. They're just like, we're not doing this more, and we're going to make this really hard to do.
Yeah, instead just like either just don't do it, like, book shorter matches or whatever and move your commercial breaks around, or don't say you're not going to do it and just continue to have commercial breaks during the matches and put people in the Baron Corbin chin lock.
He's good at the chin lock. All right, I'm gonna read this storyline.
I want to hear this, Tommy.
Uninterrupted. Here it comes. Okay. Tommy says, "Remember how Brock interrupted Ali to win the Money in the Bank briefcase? Ali has just been gone since, ignoring his weird promo that happened. Why hasn't Ali been like, fuck you, that should be mine, you weren't in the match, and try to interrupt Brock every time he tries to cash in? It makes the tagline, you can't forget me, put it on shirts with his Sub-Zero mask. Because imagine if he stops Brock from cashing in, it gives Brock a natural feud with someone based on them being the aggressor instead of Brock, with no title involved. And dear God, if Ali pins Brock, he's set for babyface for like 700 days. But it gets better, Tommy Ashton. It gets better. How about, even better, delay the payoff, let Ali mess up Brock, loses the cash-in, cuts a promo, Brock comes out, when Ali's cutting the promo, and Cesaro just destroys Ali. And next episode, Cesaro comes out and says, once a Heyman guy, always a Heyman guy. Heyman says Brock would fight you, Ali, but he's not sure you're worth getting in the ring with. And for another matter, Brock costs too much for WWE to pay his appearance fee if it's only going to be 45 seconds of action. So then you get Cesaro to look good in some matches as a stand-in. Shit, let Cedric Alexander try to help Ali because they're buddies from former 205 years. Let Cesaro destroy him. Give us a Bar versus Ali Cedric match for a Raw. Give Cedric a Cesaro feud after Cesaro Ali so he has something to do and it keeps leading places. Maybe have them in a contender triple threat. There will be history there. None of that has to do with the damn title either. Your thoughts?
I mean, no disrespect to Tommy, but I mean, it's logical. Yeah, like that's the thing, right? But what he's hoping for and what we've been getting are so far away from each other,
right?
That you're talking about, like, I think, to go back to the point that I've made many times on this podcast, but I think it's really the theme. It's the theme of WWE for the last X amount of years. They want every episode to feel like the first episode they want every episode to be the episode that if somebody's watching for the first time, they'll understand what's happening.
In a nice intro.
Yeah, like no matter what. The problem with that is that, like, so they have like a hook for a new person watching, right? If you're 7 years old and you watch Raw for the first time, like, it's going to seem amazing to you because it's so interesting. There's so many characters. There's so much stuff happening. But they don't ever want to go any deeper. They don't want to build. They're so scared of building anyone up to, like, megastar status that they are just, they're afraid. I mean, Vince is afraid. He's afraid that, like, they have these TV deals and, like, he feels like he can do whatever he wants as long as they have the TV deals. But obviously they're scared right now.
I think the thing that they're most scared of is they don't want what happened with The Rock to happen again, which is someone becomes a star and just goes like, yo, I'm going to dip.
Yeah, right. Or Brock, when Brock dipped to play football. Or
even Lashley, where he's just like, right, yo, Lashley. I'm out.
And then, like, let's not forget. So the last time they've pushed 2 Smart favorites in the past, like, 15 years to be the top guy. Daniel Bryan, who got immediately injured and had bad luck, and Chris Benoit, who killed his family.
There have been others, to their credit.
Eddie Guerrero died.
CM Punk walked out.
He
did walk out. I think that's more. So in that situation, I think it's more their fault than anything. Like, it's not like a situation where The Rock was like, "Yo, man, I just want to go try some new shit." It was just like, "Fuck you, I'm leaving. You guys are horrible."
I mean, was it mostly WWE's fault that Punk left? Yes. Was he still a total dick? Yeah.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Like, by all indications, yes.
Now he's randomly suing Colt Cabana.
Good, suck it. That's the ultimate suck it. You know what that is? I'll tell you what that is. Hit Eric Bischoff's music.
I'm back, and I'm better than ever. Got a knack for making things better. Face facts, 'cause your opinion don't matter. This a maniac is gonna step on who matters.
CM Punk is saying, I'm back.
And always a dick.
Yeah, a mega asshole.
He just really is. Like, dude, that guy was your, like, best friend for like 15 years. Fuck him.
Yeah, well, I'm back, and I want my money.
What money for what? Well, just cuz.
Look, that angle that Tommy, when I read that, I was like, look, this isn't that hard.
And here's the best part about this, what Tommy wrote, and we talk about fantasy booking stuff all the time. But the thing is that you could plug so many. They have so much talent. You could exchange names there with, like, so if Ali all of a sudden was just like Drew Gulak, it still would work, even though that you don't have the money in the bank part. You could still make an angle where if it was Matt Riddle, if you just put Matt Riddle in that spot, because Matt Riddle's been, like, taunting Brock from Twitter, and they have an MMA history like that they can play off of. You could do it with Matt Riddle for sure.
If Cesaro needed a tag team partner after Cedric and Ali are teaming up on him, you can just dial up Buddy Murphy and just go like,
Yep, exactly.
I got history with these guys. Fuck these guys. Like, I'll help you beat them.
Right. I mean, there's so many guys you could. Dude, I saw the craziest stat today, and it's someone that we make fun of a lot, but it's such a crazy stat that I'm still going to say it.
Okay.
Shinsuke Nakamura's last televised win was in October.
Dude, Shinsuke has just been MIA
Yeah,
for
or
so
or
long.
like he just shows up and like jobs as part of it. His last singles win was in October.
Oh man.
Is that not insane?
Yeah, I mean, we make fun of him a lot, but even for him, that's insane.
It's June. That was 8 months ago.
Yeah, that's incredible.
So
That's incredible.
like, but yet we see Shane McMahon on TV both shows every week.
Okay, let's talk about this. And at some point, folks, we'll get to the Stomping Ground review. At some point. It's not that important. We didn't do a Stomping Grounds preview because I didn't have time.
But first, we're going to visit the Hollowed Fountain.
But I want to take a little look at Shane McMahon because, okay, look. This has been going on for a long time, and we've expressed our dissatisfaction, as many have. It's real tough to see a 2-on-1 Drew McIntyre, Claymore Mania, Shane spearing him, Undertaker making the save. The Undertaker makes saves now for Roman Reigns, who like put him out of commission. Remember when Roman Reigns was bulletproof and would win this stuff? Okay, well, guess what? Fine, he's not bulletproof anymore. Now we've got like, we want to get Drew McIntyre over big, except for Drew McIntyre doesn't get to beat Roman Reigns one-on-one ever. He's 0 for 2 now.
No, instead, you know who's bulletproof?
Shane McMahon.
Shane McMahon. 49-year-old purple people eater Shane McMahon.
How did we get here?
Dude, I don't know. And like, it's so weird because when Shane first came back, I was definitely excited to see him. Because it felt like something different.
Yeah, like a handful of years ago.
Yeah, when he came back in Detroit or whatever, and people were so happy to see him. I was too. But I don't understand how we... Dude, could The Miz look any more like a pathetic loser?
Yeah, it's gotten... Obviously, you can undo all of that stuff at some point, but like, he does look like a little bitch when all of this happens.
He's lost 3 straight matches to Shane McMahon. He is unable to defeat Elias because of Shane McMahon.
Yep.
Like, everything that ever happens with The Miz... I can't remember the last time, like, The Miz got over on anybody.
Like, does Miz just not cheat anymore because he's a face? Is that what we're doing?
And
his like, whole entire thing was always cheating all the time, and now it's just like, I just straight up wrestle and I lose.
Yeah, and I'm gonna mix in some springboards.
Yeah, that's random.
Yeah, like
that's completely random. Like because he's a face now, he has to do like
high impact.
Yeah, he's doing like fun floppy things.
It's like somebody went to the Miz and went like, "Hey man, you got some high impact offense for this face run?" He's like, "I got you covered. Springboard axe handles. Let's do this."
Yeah. Yeah, like and like the first time he did it, I think it was in Cleveland.
It was funny the first time.
It was just like, hell yeah, that dude's amped up. This is cool.
Yeah,
and now it's like, hey man, like that's not really for you so much.
Yeah, remember when he did the frog splash? That was the worst frog splash of all time.
It was a tough frog splash.
It was Tamina level splash.
It was a tough splash. It's just I also like the Undertaker comes back on Monday. It happens in Seattle, which is like really funny to me because the show is like 25 minutes, 30 minutes from where I live. And at no point did I even consider going. Okay.
It drew like 3,500 people paid.
It drew no people. The area in Seattle that it's in, Everett, is no picnic. But like, I mean, everywhere in Washington and Seattle's nice. So I'm not going to act like it's a bad area. But it's just like, it's not like the convention center downtown. It makes sense they're not going to have it there. They didn't have it in Key, which, okay, for whatever reason, maybe I think Key might be under construction. And then the pay-per-view was in Tacoma. So they had it in their Everett location. And it's just like, that's not what I would consider to be a favorable location. We don't have concerts there or anything. So, but sure, you guys have it in Everett.
Could it just maybe be the product isn't good?
No, that's exactly what it is.
No one's going to go out of their way to go to Everett, Washington to watch Raw.
No, that's exactly the problem. Is the product's not good.
I drove to Warren, Ohio to watch NXT.
Yeah, because the product's great.
I wouldn't if Raw was being filmed next door to my house. I would have to think real long and hard if I wanted to look out the window.
Yeah, you're like, well, there are a lot of people, and I mean, not that many people, but there's enough people where it's inconvenient.
Like almost no chance I go out there, but I probably look out the window to see like what's happening.
It's just like this is what we dust the Undertaker off for too, by the way. Which
unannounced, which I like when they do unannounced stuff.
I'm very pro unannounced,
but it's the Undertaker, so I don't really like. To me, the only thing you're getting from the Undertaker is if you hype his appearance, like not hyping for somebody like the Undertaker, like him making the save. It felt so incredibly random and you're
Yes.
and you flew him to Seattle to do this in front of 3,500 people.
Yeah, is that tough? Is that tough? You know what? It probably was. I'll tell you what happened. After that happened, the Undertaker went to the back and Vince. He said, "Vince, we gotta talk." Are you kidding me? And that's what spurred the Heyman Bischoff thing. He just goes like, "Dude, I've been loyal for 3 decades.
Yeah, enough is enough, Vince.
3,500 people. Are you kidding me with this?"
Yeah, we're going back to the mid '90s where we're going to be filming in front of high school gyms.
And I did this to attack Shane, who I haven't feuded with in 2 years. Are we serious?
And also, it's your 49-year-old son.
Yeah, like Vince, what are we doing?
Like, it's one thing, like, if you're putting over Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, that makes sense. What doesn't make sense is putting over Shane McMahon ever. And I'm going to float over to something that I'm very worried about.
Hey, a little float over DDT, Shane McMahon style.
Yeah, a little float over DDT, Shane McMahon style. I'm very worried that they're going to do Seth and Becky versus, like, either Triple H and Stephanie or Shane and X at SummerSlam for all the belts.
You're worried, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to call that a lock, but here's what I will say. Tired of both of them.
Oh, yeah. Dude.
Didn't think I'd ever say that.
Let me tell you something about Seth Rollins. I personally think Will Ospreay is the most overrated wrestler on the planet. Okay? I still found Seth Rollins' behavior, comments, actions to be abhorrent.
So, let's go to 411mania.com, where there are some news stories that have been published that I have not read yet because I walked in the door, loaded up this podcast, and fired up with you.
Well, Lord knows I haven't read them either, so.
Seth Rollins addresses his defending WWE on Twitter. You can only sit back and read bashing for so long. Okay, you know what? I agree with that because I've been known to be a volatile personality on Twitter when people say dumb shit. Here's the thing, man. Here's the thing. You can't act like the product is good. You can't.
Right. It's
you can't do it.
And the other thing is, yeah, Seth, it's real easy for you to defend the product. You're the one guy who gets booked strong. Everybody else, how do you think Rusev feels right now? You think he's enjoying watching you defend the product?
There is no way that dude can watch like an episode of NXT or TakeOver and go like, dude, our shit's booked great. You gotta be fucking kidding me.
Yeah, have him go watch the Best of the Super Juniors or whatever, and tell me that the booking on WWE Raw is anywhere close. By the way, I think Seth Rollins is a better wrestler than Will Ospreay, but that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The product is terrible.
I am not here for this Seth and Becky team up.
No.
And I like both of them, but as we have mentioned on previous episodes, there's such a thing as overexposure. Too much of a good thing.
They have zero chemistry on screen.
Anti-chem.
I'm sure that they love each other very much off screen, and I'm sure it's great times. But let me just put this out there: not just because you're with somebody in real life doesn't mean it's going to work on screen.
It's true. You're not going to have. It's not always going to be Miz and Maurice, man.
Yeah, or Miss Elizabeth and Randy Savage.
Yeah, it's just not always going to be that. And of course, I'll tell you what. Hey, Bags, would you like to place a bet? You want to make a bet with me?
What's the bet?
Are you ready? I'll take Seth Rollins and Becky. You get Lacey Evans and Baron Corbin. You want to bet? You want to make a bet?
Dude, I need you to admit something to me.
Hold on. It sounds like you don't want to make a bet. So what you're going to do right now is you're probably going to make me say something about Baron Corbin. Mm-mm. So I'm going to make just, and you might not, but it's time for Corbin's music. Let's go. That music it's fine. I kind of like it. It's not as good as Baron Corbin's first.
I think I still like his original theme a lot better.
I still listen to his original theme regularly. Here's the thing.
This other music, it's too I don't know. It doesn't have it's not tough. It doesn't sound strong enough.
The word you're looking for that you oftentimes use to describe people's music is generic.
Yeah, it's just like, who wrote this? Seether? Like, where did this come from? Is this Godsmack?
Saliva.
Yeah.
Always. I don't know if that's Saliva or not. All right, what's your question? It might be Lacey Evans.
It is. So you've expressed some admiration for Lacey Evans in the past.
I have.
Can we pack it in, or you want to move the chicken away from the fucking vegetables, or
look, it's not great.
She's horrible.
I don't think she's bad.
Did you watch the match at fucking Stomping Ground?
It was kind of whatever.
It was not whatever. She missed her cue 4 times in the match.
Okay, I saw her miss at least 1, maybe 2. I will say, obviously I'm always doing like 2 things at once, so I can't claim to have seen all of them, but I did remember at least 2 spots where I was like, ee.
At one point, Becky called a spot so fucking loud, and she's like, back elbow. and she still didn't do it.
Oh, boy.
Well,
You know what? Here's what I'll say. I'm not going to say that you're wrong, but I will say I blame this on the WWE.
I do too, 100%.
Why the fuck we call her up so early?
Yeah. Oh no, that's not. Look, this is not even a shot at her. This is the classic Vince blonde woman move.
Yeah,
this is the 3rd time that they've done this exact same thing, and maybe more depending on. I mean, they struck while the iron was hot with Alexa Bliss.
Yep.
But they definitely did this with Dana Brooke, and I would say they arguably did it with Carmella. Where it's like, if they spent another year in NXT, they probably would have been insane.
What's the rush?
What are we rushing here? We got plenty of people.
Yeah, what is the fucking rush? Yeah, Seth and his online little fight that, is somewhat real, somewhat fake between Will Ospreay and everything. Even if it's fake, yo, bro, it doesn't come off in a positive way.
No.
In any way. There's nothing where you're just like, ooh, sick burn. And then it's like, ooh, sick burn back. It's like, no, you look like a douche.
You look like 2 little bitches, both of you.
Yeah.
Also, to stand up for Lacey Evans briefly, Becky was unbelievably unprofessional when she missed her cues.
Okay.
Like making like faces and like very obviously like just displeased with Lacey Evans' performance. Which look, Lacey Evans' performance was bad, but again, are we really blaming her?
No, dude, this is on management. The call up was too early.
And also, so they called her up too early, and then they had her walk around the ring. Because she clearly wasn't ready. She just kept like walking around the ring for like 4 months. Hey, maybe she still isn't ready. Maybe you should just have not called her up. If you could still abort mission. You don't have to put her in title matches with Becky Lynch.
Or how about just like a smaller feud with Natalya or some bullshit?
That's what I mean. Yeah, you don't have to put her. You don't have to put her right to the top. Also,
yeah, just put you right in the top spot.
I've decided. I figured out what Baron Corbin is.
Talk to me.
He's Kane. He and Ziggler are both Kane. They're both the guy that get the feud right after WrestleMania. That like they have no chance of winning, but it's gonna like bore everyone to tears. And look, Baron Corbin, he's definitely out there trying to be a good heel.
I think Baron Corbin is a good heel.
He's at least trying to do it. But the problem is that, number one, this is an underrated part about this that people don't talk about. Seth Rollins is a garbage babyface. He's a garbage babyface to play off of.
Yeah, it's not great.
It's horrible.
Not great. It's not great, yeah.
What's his character? Someone tell me. What is Seth Rollins? What is he?
Yeah, there is no character. He's certainly not an underdog.
What does he stand for?
Burning things down.
Burning what down?
He's an arsonist.
Arsonist? Yeah, arsonist.
He's an arsonist. He's a supervillain pyro.
Like, dude, there's so many guys in WWE you could say that about, but most of the guys near the top of the card at least have some semblance of a character, right?
Sure.
Like, if I asked you what Kevin Owens is about, I think you could tell me.
Fat.
Prize fighter, fat. Cares most about winning more than anything else.
Yep. Literally, we'll do anything to win.
Right. Like,
yeah, Seth Rollins doesn't have much of a character.
And also, I mean, look, I don't know if this is just a troll job by the WWE, but can we let Baron Corbin wrestle in something that's not that?
No, I think that shit's real funny still.
I'm off it.
I think it's real funny, personally. I mean, that's just like my sense of humor. But also, I don't think it looks bad.
It doesn't look bad, but like, I mean, this guy doesn't need to, like, hasn't he been punished enough?
You know what's really funny to me? If Baron Corbin was in NXT right now, I think he'd be fucking killing it.
Oh, same. He was called up way too early too.
I think Baron Corbin's actually a really good wrestler. I think he's mega safe. I think his spots are good. I think his end move is good. I think his promos are fine. But that's because
he has 2 good spots. 2. I will not. The sliding clothesline is garbage, man.
I love it. I love it.
That's a fucking whack. That's a wacky line.
I love it. I think that his promos are fine and could be good because we saw what happened on Talking Smack when they just let the dude fucking talk.
Also, he's very articulate. Like he speaks very clearly, which is it's not a nothing skill. Like you can, he paces himself well in promos. Like the reason why everyone hates Baron Corbin is because generally the way he's been booked is like he's a loser. And why would anyone be afraid of him? But then they book him like a loser and then like put him into title matches, which it doesn't even like. There's remember what you said earlier about like just have a story that makes some sense.
That would be nice.
Like why other than X has pinned the champion?
Oh my god!
What story? Why does Baron Corbin get pushed to the top of the card? That makes no sense.
The world's worst storyline. X has pinned the champion.
That is the world's worst storyline. Yes.
All right, let me see what else I got on 4-1 Mania here real quick. Fox reportedly had no idea Eric Bischoff would become SmackDown's executive director. That's gas.
I don't think that's a big deal because you know what? Why do they need to know that? They're not controlling. They don't have creative control over the show.
Triple H rumored to have declined executive director role for SmackDown Live.
Well, that's smart. That's smart.
That's gas.
Dude, Triple H is playing the long game here. He always plays the long game.
Right. It's always about the long game.
It's always about the long game. And he knows that, like, he doesn't want to be responsible for anything right now because he's just waiting. He's biding his time and booking and doing, like, the best product possible. And that way, like, he gets to avoid all the backlash.
One thing I was thinking about yesterday before I went to bed, just WWE lies. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Remember when they trotted Steph, Vince, Triple H? They trotted.
You're the authority now.
No, they trot. Yeah, the fans. You're the authority now. Here's our call-ups: Lacey Evans, Heavy Machinery, EC3. All those people. We're gonna make a difference. They all did nothing for a while.
Can I say something really funny about that though?
Yes.
The vast majority of them appeared on the pay-per-view.
Yeah, they're actually doing things now.
Yeah, it's like they went into a time camp. They went into like stasis for 5 months. And then it's like
I guess we did say we'd make some changes.
So it's like, all right, Nikki Cross, you can be involved. Heavy Machinery, sure, you can have a title shot. Lacey Evans, you're in the mix. EC3, no.
No, you're not allowed to do anything.
It at Bernie's, that's the best we're gonna do for you.
Guy who's been here before, don't even think about it.
Yeah, no.
Another WWE lie. Do you remember when it came out in the old dirt sheets that the Money in the Bank this year, the goal was to build new stars with it? So Brock and Bailey, or
I mean, Bailey's Money in the Bank cash-in was phenomenal. So
it was phenomenal, but you know, we predicted that like Mandy Rose was going to win because they were going to build new stars with this, and like Drew McIntyre was
or Ricochet.
Yeah, it was like Drew McIntyre was like for sure to win, and it's just like Brock and Bailey.
So Brock not even in the match, or
yeah. So why would we have Ali win? Or so I thought that was really, really funny. Okay, here's another thing that I see on the website right now. WWE rumored to have several NXT call-ups and SmackDown moves to Fox.
No.
Let me take a look here. WWE is making some big moves as it prepares to move SmackDown to Fox this fall, and that apparently includes NXT call-ups. Take this as a rumor for now, but reporter Brad Shepard says that a source within WWE says that this fall we'll see the largest batch of NXT call-ups that has ever been seen to date. The specifics on when such a move would take place is not known, but the implication is that it would be in preparation for SmackDown's jump to Fox in October. Doesn't look like there are any names here in this report. I hope that none of them get selected.
Isn't the best thing that they could possibly do call literally basically all of the main event scene up from NXT and kick everybody else off the show and just basically turn SmackDown into NXT. Basically give me all the main eventers from NXT now and all the ones from the last 2 years. Put them on SmackDown. Put all the big stars on Raw, and you're done.
That's totally fine with me. I also just thought of a weird theory, just out of nowhere. This is how my brain works. With
RKO.
With Heyman and Bischoff taking over, do you know who I think is going to be back on television in a relevant role?
Hulk Hogan.
No.
I'm just kidding.
Leo Rush.
Possibly.
I think Leo Rush is really good.
Oh, so do I, but he is a real dick.
Yeah, he appears to be a mega douche.
He's a real dick. Like people behind the scenes, and I don't mean just like Vince or whatever. I mean like other wrestlers are like, this guy. You know what kind of vibes I'm getting from him?
Who?
When the mic hits the ground and you really won't sound, that's Enzo Amore.
Yeah, it's pretty similar vibe I'm getting.
Like everybody's like, because apparently like people have tried to like take him aside and be like, look, man, stop, just pay your bide your time, and you're really good, you're gonna get over. And he's just like, fuck you,
pay your dues. Nope.
Yeah, how about no?
Nope. How about I get to do my thing right now?
Lashley.
Yeah, I do miss that. All right, last thing I want to mention here before we do our quick stomping grounds review.
Before we head to a watery grave.
Yeah. That was nice. I watched NXT yesterday. They're doing like this weird tournament thing.
The breakout, really cool. The breakout tournament, yeah. The
breakout tournament's really cool. I do like that they were just very transparent too. They were just like, formerly known as this, formerly known as TJZ.
Of course, that's what they should do.
Yeah, I really dug that. But I messaged you last night while I was watching NXT a couple of times because I don't know who Angel Garza is.
I think this is amazing, by the way, that this is the guy you love.
I don't know who Angel Garza is against Joaquin Wild, who is DJZ. I've never been a big DJZ guy. I think he's like fine, but nothing special.
I like him because he wrestled. He came up into Cleveland.
Yeah, I do know that. Like totally fine, serviceable, whatever. This Angel Garza guy put on a fucking show.
Do you know who that guy is?
No.
I'm surprised because you're an Impact Wrestling aficionado.
They said he's like someone's brother or son. Or, I can't remember what it is.
He's Garza Jr.
Okay.
And he was famous in Impact for taking off his pants, Eric Young style.
All right. Well, he took off his pants during this match. So I'm watching this match, right? And I'm just like, I've never seen this guy before. Attractive Mexican man in incredible shape, appears to understand wrestling from the jump. And I was like, okay, this guy's a lot of fun. The match was a lot of fun. And then I just kept thinking to myself, who the fuck is this guy? So
yeah,
I Googled.
Where did they take this guy up from?
Yeah, I'm like, who is this guy? So I Googled him, and he's got like 670,000 Twitter followers.
Yeah, I mean, he's pretty. I mean, he was on Impact a lot.
Yeah, but he was also like he's got to wrestle in Mexico or various places.
Exactly, that's the other right. There you go. I mean, people forget the rest of the world exists sometimes.
So then I'm thinking, you know, the WWE is for a pretty long time now. You know, I believe this to be true, where they're just like, we really want like the next Mexican star after Rey Mysterio's done. And so, you know, they tried Del Rio and like that flamed out. And, you know, they have Andrade, who's fantastic, but doesn't speak English well. And then I'm looking at this Angel Garza guy and I'm just like, how is this not the guy?
And right, how is he just getting like, he didn't even get to be on TV before this.
Yeah, it's like, you guys really want a big Mexican star. This dude is very attractive, in great shape, obviously can wrestle. I don't know if he can speak English well. But like, I mean, what the fuck was the holdup here?
That's all true for Andrade too, so.
Absolutely.
To be fair.
To be fair.
Okay, now to be fair.
To be fair.
To be fair.
And then the other thing I messaged you was, I don't know how the Street Profits got over. I don't know when it happened. Is this the result of Percy Watson just going like, yo, these guys got street cred? I have no idea. But they are so over, and I'm so into it.
I mean, Montez is just ridiculous. And the curse of greatness, while he is still cursed with being shit, he has been around forever. Everyone likes him. He seems like a very likable guy. The fans were genuinely happy to see, especially like at Full Sail, genuinely happy to see him get a belt because he's been wrestling since he was fully dressing like a Ninja Turtle.
Yeah, I remember that.
So, I mean, I think that's a big part of it. And it's very obvious that everybody knows Montez is going to be like a huge star. He's like ridiculously athletic, super charismatic.
Yeah. Yep.
Has all of the tools. So basically, you know, I think that's a big part of it. Plus, they have their entrance is really, really good.
Yeah, like, and it's like really good out of nowhere. They like go into the crowd. I don't know where everyone's getting the cups from.
Yeah, cups are game now. Like
everyone's got the cup.
Like, if one thing that wrestling's ever taught me is if you have a good prop and you're trying to get over and like people get into the prop. Al Snow basically had a job in the WWE for like 10 years because people in ECW liked doing the mannequin head thing.
Yep.
I mean, and if you've ever seen like some of the clips from Al Snow and ECW, it is fucking insane. Like everyone in the crowd this is homework for everybody. Like go look up Al Snow and ECW. You'll see the most insane thing you've ever seen in your whole life. Like everybody in the crowd with a mannequin head, they just fill the ring with them. It's incredible. And the cups kind of remind me of that, where it's just like, it's an easy to carry prop. That like it's fun to do, and it just works. It's colorful. I can't really describe it, but I do think that they've hit on something with the Street Profits. They definitely should have beaten the War Raiders, by the way.
I think they should have beaten the War Raiders too. Why protect them?
For what?
Why protect them on the way out the door?
And just so that they could go to the main roster and not be on TV?
Yeah, that didn't really make a lot of sense to me. I agree. I mean, sure, the Fatal 4-Way was cool and fun, and like the moment of them winning was great, but yeah, they should have beaten the War Raiders.
You could have just done a ladder match with those two teams.
You ready for Stomping Grounds, big guy?
Well, of course I'm ready, but you know, the thing is
I can't wait to see where this is going.
I'm gonna have to blow off some steam, you know, vent a little bit.
Okay, sure.
I think the theme song for this podcast or for this pay-per-view might have been by Drowning Pool, but maybe Breeding Pool.
Could have been Breeding Pool.
Yeah. And you know, the other thing that there were some fights in this that really reminded me of like gang warfare, like the Bloods versus the Crips.
Oh, sure, absolutely. That makes total sense too. You're really working all 10 dual lands in this episode, aren't you?
I've tried to. I think I've gotten 6 or 7 in so far. So Sacred Foundry's a little rough to try to.
Yeah, Sacred Foundry and Godless Shrine.
Yeah. You know, if we were talking about the Double or Nothing show, I could have talked about Triple H's throne as a Godless Shrine.
That's nice.
Yeah, Sacred Foundry's a little tough.
Anyway, first match, Cruiserweight Championship, Nice, Gulak, Tozawa.
Match was fucking insane.
It was really, really good.
Like,
it was really good.
As we give Tony Nice, he's a really good professional wrestler.
No, he is. He's just boring.
He's boring. That's all. But he's like the class. I mean, the same could be said for Cedric Alexander, right?
Yep.
Like, he was a very low charisma, but very high work rate guy who like held the belt for a long time and like had a bunch of insane matches with it. I think the secret superstar here is actually Akira Tozawa. He is so smooth in the ring.
Yeah, I agree.
People always they always throw this guy's name out as like people that reminded them of this guy, but he reminded me so much of Eddie Guerrero in reality. He really does.
He actually does for me too.
Because he doesn't do anything ultra flashy, but he does do some high flying, and all of his moves look so crisp and so smooth, and so there's so little wasted motion. I really love that.
This is a long time coming for Drew Gulak, in my opinion.
Same, I agree, and I didn't mean to overshadow Drew Gulak because I thought he did a tremendous job, and he has gotten himself into some really good shape.
Drew Gulak has been, I mean, if you want to talk about the definition of a steady hand, wherever you insert this guy, he's able to do a nice job. You know, he did the stuff with Kushida was fun. Hell, even that match with Bugenhagen was fun.
If you go back, you can go all the way back to Drew Gulak in the Cruiserweight Classic, where I thought he clearly outshined Zack Sabre Jr. I
felt the same way during the match.
And then all the way through that being like Enzo's barn.
Yep, he was really good at that.
He was awesome at that. The PowerPoint.
Yeah, the PowerPoint was insane. The no-fly zone and the PowerPoint was completely insane. I think people forget about that. That was a lot of fun.
Like, he's been legitimately not just good, but I would venture so far to say a great part of the show. And honestly, 205 Live is really, really a solid, watchable show. And I didn't think I'd ever get to say that because I thought basically it was always going to just be like kind of a forgotten thing. But if I was going to a taping, for sure I would watch. I would definitely want to watch the 205 Live part.
Becky versus Lacey. We already talked on all the blown
Horrible.
spots and just not a particularly good match.
Not a good outing for Lacey. I didn't think it was a very good outing for Becky either. It was just an overall a mess. Lacey doesn't have a whole lot, you know? Like, her big spot in this match was, like, the hanky of doom.
Yeah, I mean, the idea of the character is probably better than the actual character.
Yeah, exactly.
I think.
I agree. Like, let's put it this way. I don't think she's a much better wrestler than Lana is.
Well, I won't go that far.
She's way more athletic, but I don't think she's that much of a better wrestler. She has no clue where she's supposed to be at any given time.
Yeah. I mean, Lana is just, I think Lana's unplayable. Like, should never be in the ring. And then Lacey Evans, I do think, like, you can see some blown spots in her just thinking too much, I think. But I'm not out on Lacey Evans yet, but I don't like how this has been done to start, which is just like, rocket. There's no reason to put a rocket up her ass and Xavier Woods.
Yeah, speaking of big-ass rockets.
Yeah, and Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn. I figured Owens and Zayn would win this match because they've just been losing literally every single time on television.
Sami Zayn gets pinned. He's getting pinned on average more than once per show.
Trouble in Paradise, literally every week.
You're
just there to take it.
Yep. By the way, Kofi's record since WrestleMania, do you know what it is?
Probably like XO.
He's 25-0-1.
Yeah.
Which, good for him, and I'm glad. I'm always happy when a champion gets booked strong.
He just beats these guys always. Which,
well, to be fair, he's been in the Dolph Ziggler lock for like.
To be fair.
To be fair.
To be fair.
To be fair.
Well, to be fair. To be fair.
To be fair.
To be fair.
To be fair. To be fair.
I mean, Ziggler, it should have been me. Well, it is you jobbing as usual.
Yeah, that's what he's here to do. So that match was really good because those guys could have a good match in their sleep. Joe versus Ricochet was a pretty good match, I think. Samoa Joe just plays the role. I mean, he plays all roles well. Role of like big bully against smaller guy.
Bully is one of his finest roles, and also like this match was what it was supposed to be. Like it was more of a sprint, more of a like a shorter match, but with it. They told a nice little story. I don't really think they could have a bad match either.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
So at this point in the show, by the way, outside of the Becky versus Lacey disaster, I was like, this is a pleasant surprise. Like, the show has been very entertaining so far.
It got better.
Yep.
Daniel Bryan and Rowan versus Heavy Machinery.
I actually thought this was the match of the night, randomly.
Well, here's the thing, man. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I know you don't disagree. Daniel Bryan's the best wrestler in the world.
You want to talk about fucking heavy lifting.
Yeah.
He made they pushed 4 stars here with Tucker Knight, Eric Rowan, and Tucker Dozovich. Or Otis Dozovich. Yeah, Tucker Knight. And Daniel Bryan did more with his pre-match promo about Heavy Machinery than anything that else that's been done for Heavy Machinery since they came up, by saying like, yeah, Tucker Knight was like a collegiate All-American wrestler, and Dozovich is like a powerlifting champion. Like, that's how you get people over, is like, the heels don't always have to just be constantly putting down these guys. The better you make your opponent look, the better it makes you look when you beat him.
It's unsurprising that he did a really nice job. But you know what? Even Rowan got a little promo time, too.
I also thought Rowan did a really good job in this match.
I think Rowan, it's like learning by osmosis.
Yeah,
it's not that Luke Harper's bad. It's just Daniel Bryan is so good.
Oh, yeah.
That it's just like, you need to be in this spot to do this and all this other stuff. Because the entire time that Eric Rowan has been paired with him, ignoring like when it debuted where it's like, oh, I wonder whose side he's on. ignoring that, it's been a really good partnership.
Yeah, and like there's even like an explanation for it and everything. Like, well, he's my intellectual equal. You know, we both have a lot of things in common about wanting to save the planet. And like Rowan's work in that role, which is it's the role he's born to play, to be fair.
To be fair.
But that said, I mean, he's doing the work, and he is also clearly improving.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought that, heavy machinery, there was one small area where they almost missed a spot and Tucker actually saved it.
Yep.
And it's when they were going for the compactor so Tucker could go
Yep.
over the top rope. Other than that, like, I heard this on the Masked Man podcast, but I mean, Otis is the money in this. Tucker could be anybody.
Could literally be anybody, but he did his part.
Yeah, and Otis, I've always been a big believer since I followed him on Instagram.
Same.
He's good, man.
He's really funny. He clearly works really, really hard. Eats a lot of steaks. Eats a lot of bad food, which I love.
He eats so much bad food.
But I can't. I mean, I think he burns the vast majority of it off. Because
I mean, given what he posts on Instagram, just like, yo, another like 6 or 7 egg omelet with other things
with ice cream, and it's like what? And it's like, but then the next thing you'll see is like he's just quietly in the gym for 7 hours or whatever.
He did look a little gassed during the match.
Yeah, but that's because I think he's not used to having to work that. The match was longer than I think almost any match they've worked in WWE.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, even between like NXT and anything else.
Yeah, even counting NXT.
But it was a lot of fun. I've said this before too. I'm going to say this again. Daniel Bryan winning with the small package is just the best thing,
especially against really big guys like that. Like
it is literally the funniest shit when he does that to Tucker, and then Tucker afterward they put the camera on him. He like snaps his fingers. He's like, "God damn it!" And I'm like, "That's so awesome."
He got me.
Yep, so awesome.
I thought the match was really, really, really good. I really enjoyed it.
Well, I'm sure you enjoyed Bayley versus Alexa Bliss then too, didn't you?
Mm-mm. The finish was all fucked up. Like, look, guys, I get it.
Oh yeah, here he is.
I get it, everyone.
Here he is.
Alexa Bliss is really attractive. I get it, okay? But she doesn't have it. She doesn't have it at all. She wrestles a brawler style. She's 5 feet tall. I don't believe for a second, not only do I believe she couldn't hurt like Charlotte, I don't believe she could hurt Bayley. I don't believe she could hurt anybody. Like, it just doesn't work for me. And it's a shame because, I think Alexa Bliss might be one of the people I have the biggest disconnect between how much I like them as a person versus how much I like their work.
Okay.
Alexa Bliss is a very high quality human, and she seems like an extremely nice person. She's very modest. She definitely works very hard, but some people just don't have it, man. And like, she is in a world where you could still have managers, she would be so perfect for that, because her getting physically involved as a manager, that would work for me, no problem. But trying to buy her as a threat to somebody who looks like Bayley, even, because Bayley's ripped, and she's, I don't know, 5, 6 inches taller than Alexa.
Yeah.
And I just don't believe that, like, Alexa I can't buy her as a threat at all.
It's tough. It's a real suspension of disbelief. I'll never forget that Survivor Series match where it was her versus Charlotte, and I just okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, get out of here with that.
Yeah, okay.
So, yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's very tough, and, like, I guess, and the thing is, the sad part is, it's not her fault that, like, she has the creepiest fans in the entire world. So, it's just, there was a biscuit butt chant during the match.
Yeah, of course there was. Thanks. Mickey James, how are ya?
Mickey James, how are you indeed?
You know what? I'm not going to take much time on this Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre match.
I have nothing to say about it.
Look, it's just, what's the plan with Drew, guys? Just a lackey, or he looks like an intimidating monster who should be holding titles? What's the plan?
Never wins a match that matters, ever.
Nope. He's claymoring people. He's claymoring the same person, like 2 to 3 times per Raw.
Yeah, that's true.
And then they're just like, all right, pay-per-view match. Take the L.
Yeah,
all right.
Lose despite Shane's interference, or...
Yeah. Kofi versus Dolph, so...
I thought this was really boring and really bad, and it got decent reviews online. The finishing spot was okay. But can we just say it? Dolph Ziggler's offense is horrible, and he looks completely unmotivated. Completely unmotivated.
Would you be motivated?
I mean, if you're getting title matches, I would imagine you'd have a little bit more pep in your step. He was doing some weird ass stuff where he was like trying to like work in some submissions. Look, man,
submissions could get the job done in this match, and we know how much Dolph loves shitty submissions.
We also know that Dolph Ziggler's submission prowess is unmatched.
Yeah, Sleeper, ever heard of it?
Yeah, big. Yeah, that's what this match will do to you. Sleeper.
Can you imagine having to sell the zigzag?
No. Literally, it's a guy taking a back bump next to you.
It's really tough.
So yeah, Dolph, enough. Just enough. I like that he was on SmackDown this week, and he's like, I deserve yet another match. And they're like, all right, if you win this match, you can be in the match with Samoa Joe. Just go back to comedy. Thanks.
Yeah. Take a break, man. Lastly indeed, Seth Rollins versus BC, my boy. Lacey Evans is your special guest referee. Oh joy, I couldn't predict what was going to happen.
Yeah, oh joy, the dude loved Steve Austin stuff from 20 years ago. That was awesome when they did it. But you know why it was awesome when they did it? Because those people are awesome at wrestling. You know who's not awesome at any of this stuff? Lacey Evans. You know who's not really awesome at the role that they're making him play? Baron Corbin. You know who's not awesome as a plucky baby face? Who's attacking people with chairs for no reason? Seth Rollins. Nothing about this worked. Becky for some reason didn't come out till like literally the very last second. Why?
What's she waiting for? You think she's gonna call it honest?
As soon as it became no DQ, don't you just come out immediately?
Yep.
Like as soon as it's no DQ, it just literally cue her music. She should be coming out and just attacking Lacey Evans.
Ooh, this is nice. Here's a quote from Bischoff before we put a wrap on this podcast. Eric Bischoff discusses how the brand should feel distinct, how one show needs to feel gritty and edgy. So big, Bischoff. I agree with you. Actually, hold on. I've gotten ahead of myself. Music!
They say that I've lost it, but talk me down, and I swear it's gonna cost you. Now I'm back, the boss of you morons, so never count me out as one thing you can count on. Yeah. It's time to get in line, 'cause I'm gonna make it change. Kicking ass, taking names, bleeding.
So, he says how one show needs to feel gritty and edgy, which I agree with. You know what show that is? It's NXT.
Yeah, I agree.
That's your gritty and edgy show.
See, if I was Bischoff, if I was doing this, I would produce. What I would say is that SmackDown should be presented more like a sport or like New Japan, because it's going to be on Fox. It's going to have a different feel to it. Present it as more of a like wins and losses matter type thing. Have most of the rivalries be about winning titles, which is how New Japan does things. Not very many blood feuds. Not very much like fantastic nonsense. But more just like treat it like a sport, and then let Raw be the show that's like more story driven. That's if you want to make them feel different, that's how you do it. So here's my question for you, Said, before we wrap it up.
All right.
Have you seen the Easter eggs where the people from the Firefly Funhouse have been showing up at Raw and SmackDown?
I have.
Where do you think that Brave shows up, and what do you think he does?
All right. So the first thing I thought was he's the answer to the Aleister Black challenge. I don't think that anymore at all.
Nah, I don't think so.
I think that's a waste of Bray, because like he's got to lose. He's got to lose that.
Right.
So I don't know who that's going to be, and I don't really care. It could be some jobber. It could be anything. I'm glad Aleister Black's going to eventually be wrestling on TV again.
He gets to leave the room.
I legitimately have no idea what they're going to do with Bray, and I'm really happy about that.
In my opinion, the thing that makes the most sense is I think he should show up and he should take the belt from Kofi, but I don't think that's what they're going to do.
Okay.
I think that what they're going to do, because there's history between Bray and the New Day that they could play off of.
Sure.
What I think they're going to do instead is I think Shane McMahon is going to take the belt from Kofi.
Yep, this is the big rumor.
And that then Brock will cash in on him.
Brock will cash in on Shane.
Yeah, because they're going to want to go into their Fox deal with their big star as the champ. All
right. How does that fit Bray in?
Bray is going to end up on Raw, eventually feuding with Rollins, but they're going to drag it out for a long time.
Yeah, they probably will.
Because they're not ready for it yet. But they know that they can't do any more Firefly Funhouses, because if they go for too long on that, then it's just gonna die out.
Well, then it feels like Lacey Evans walking to the fucking
Exactly.
ring.
So now they have to like move on to the next stage, which is going to be like slowly but surely. Like first, it's going to be hard to notice that like the characters in the Funhouse like around. Then it will become more obvious until finally like the Fiend himself will show up.
Okay. You know what the worst part about that is? I'm not even saying you're wrong. I'm not saying your booking is bad. It's
My
just
booking
it
is
could be.
bad. They don't have a. If you think this is what I was worried about when this first started, and I guarantee you it's going to happen. They don't know what to do now.
Yeah.
They have no idea. Bray Wyatt himself is a very, very good performer and a very creative person that did most of this himself. But they have no plan on what to do with the character in the ring. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
What? I mean, to be honest though, what is
to be fair.
Oh, fine. To be fair.
To be fair.
Well, to be fair. To be fair.
What is the right thing to do with
Dude, I
that?
have no idea.
Like,
are you serious?
Like, how do you take that character and translate to wrestling?
I don't have the slightest idea.
Yeah, like I don't either. I have no idea. So I can't even be mad at them for not knowing better things to do because I don't know if there is a better thing to do because it's like a character that exists on a totally different TV show.
Yeah. I have legitimately no fucking idea what they're supposed to do with this character. It's fun. I like what's going on, but like booking him and fusing everything, dude, who knows?
The only thing I could think of that you could play off of that actually like would be a model to follow would be you can do something similar to like Broken Matt Hardy in TNA. Like that type of character where it's like they're almost like outside of the regular bounds of the show.
He's got to be on Heyman's show then.
Yeah, for sure.
Instead of Bischoff's, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
We got anything else? Any nonsense?
Not really. No, I don't have anything super special nonsense-wise. I don't have any new YouTube shows that I've been watching because I've been working a lot, so I don't have anything fun to talk about. How about you?
The only thing I really got is I watched Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse yesterday.
Yeah.
It's on Netflix.
Yeah.
It was really good.
Yeah, I think that movie's really, really good. Oh, hey, since we're here talking, how was your first Pro Tour commentary experience?
Oh, it's called Mythic Championship.
Oh, whatever, yeah.
It was good. It was very different. I was in a role that I'm not normally in. They had me do expert instead of play-by-play.
Oh, okay. You were the color man.
Yeah. I was colorful. And colored commentary.
Ooh.
And yeah, there it is. I got there. It was good, man. It's a different world out there now because this was done on Arena as opposed to tabletop.
Yeah.
And Arena is just really smooth and the games go by fast. So where Patrick and I normally...
You have no dead time, I bet.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. So where someone like fucking cracks a fetch land or ponders and dirtles around for like 90 seconds, now none of that shit happens.
Right, so it's like instant. So you basically are just like constantly talking would be my guess.
Yeah, it's just you're just moving and the matches don't take long. And look, I know some people aren't really going to like this, but this is just I'm someone who very much lives in reality. This is the future.
You know, the unfortunate thing is, I think it's not unfortunate that you're right about this. What's unfortunate is that you do lose something from the player versus player one-on-one, like face-to-face fight. But I mean, there's so much the technical side of things is so much nicer.
It's just the future, man. These rounds are easy. You don't, and this is gonna suck to say because like I like a lot of these people. You don't need judges. There are no like, hey, you need to play faster, slow play things.
And there's no shenanigans. Like you can't
there's no cheating.
You can't shuffle to the top of your deck or whatever basically like
all the bullshit you worry about when you play in a tournament like a pro tour where once you start getting close to the money, people are going to do things they probably shouldn't do. You don't worry about anything. Go play your matches. Go home.
You don't speak English? Oh well, that's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. We don't have to talk. Nonverbal communication. We're playing a computer game.
Right.
Like it's different, and it was a little strange to me, and I had to adapt a little bit for a lot of different reasons. But I like I said, I live in reality, and like, yeah, I don't want to say there's no reason to have like paper Mythic Championships or Pro Tours anymore. But when you look at a tournament like this, and it's just like it's smooth, it's easy, it's very easy. We don't have to communicate everything because it's being communicated for you. I mean, make an argument for doing it the other way. It's really hard.
Here's a dumb question: how quiet was it?
It was kind of quiet, but at the same time, I think that there was a moment in the finals where the Simic Nexus player, Matthias Leverato, against Brad Nelson, he needed to find a copy of Nexus of Fate, which is the time walk that shuffles back in.
Yep.
He needed to find a copy of Nexus of Fate, and so he basically got to look at the top 14 cards to find it, and it was at the end of it, he had to play an opt, scry to the bottom, put the card to the bottom, and then the top card was Nexus. It was his last chance to find it. He cast it. He won the game, right?
Okay, so very exciting moment.
And that was game 2 of the finals when he was down a game.
Okay.
So it's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, that was fucking fantastic, right? And actually, the people we had a small audience in the room. It was the players who played that were in the final.
Yep.
And some of the production team. And everybody there was just like, oh man, he's got to find it. And like, people were really into it. And then like, when he found it, everyone started clapping. And my first thought was, look, this is, if you watch like League of Legends and stuff like that, where they're selling out arenas.
Yeah, people go crazy.
Now, I'm not expecting that to happen, but like when that thing happened with the Nexus of Fate, I immediately was just like, yeah, I could see like 10,000 people going like, fuck yeah, I'm just going nuts.
I mean, you remember, so like the Craig Jones was the guy, right? The Lightning Helix?
Yeah, Lightning Helix.
Like if that happens, the same thing is true. People are going to go nuts.
Yeah. Now, and I do think at some point they will probably open these events to like selling tickets and having crowds and start small and maybe start to grow after that. But none of that is, I don't want to say none of that's possible with Paper Magic, but it is much more possible with Arena as opposed to Paper Magic and having cool flashy things happen that people can go, ooh, everything.
I mean,
else.
if I was them, what I would do is like something like PAX Unplugged or one of the PAX events, and then, just like book one of the smaller auditorium arena type things and do like an invitational. And then that would be a great place to like kind of start putting your finger into the water a little bit.
I mean, you got to start somewhere, and they're obviously getting started. But, for everyone who's like worried about tabletop Magic, I wouldn't really say that I'm worried about it because I think it's still going to exist because it makes Wizards of the Coast way too much money.
Also, things like Commander and stuff like that stuff still plays better on the table.
And I mean, and I like the interaction of playing with my friends.
The social aspect, like the people that are playing Magic as a social game. Is something social to do that they also get to play a game. Like the same people that play board games like myself. Like digital board games are definitely better implementations than playing it with the physical pieces. But I would still much rather play my board games because that's my leisure activity. Now, from a competitive standpoint, I don't think it will be close.
I don't think it will be either. I don't.
All right, didn't mean to go completely off the rails on our wrestling podcast, but
hey, it's okay. It's totally fine. I have to make a podcast about that at some point anyway, so this lets me kind of start opening up that topic a little bit. He's Joey Bags at Sir Please on Twitter. I'm Cedric Phillips at Cedric A. Phillips on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, even though I don't use that one that much anymore. Be back next week, probably. I'm sure there'll be some news that'll break about fucking something. This wrestling is just all over.
We got to start down the path to Sacred Foundry.
Actually, dude.
Yes.
Yeah, here's the last thing I'll say. Extreme Rules, huh?
Yeah. How many Extreme Rules matches do you think they'll have? I'm setting the over. I'm setting the over under 1.5.
If your line was 2.5, it'd be more difficult.
All right, so make it 2.5.
All right, under.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Under is my answer.
I think there'll be 2.
And guess what? None of the matches when you're PG are all that extreme.
You're not going to be seeing the Rhodes Brothers match at Extreme Rules.
No, you won't. But you're not going to be seeing you're going to tables match? Cool, dude. Chair match, cool. Chairs lose their luster when Seth Rollins comes out and beats someone up with them every week,
but
right?
Maybe if we're lucky, we will get a stairs match.
All right, final comment, because I just thought of this. Io Shirai was dope on Wednesday.
Oh, yeah.
You warned me about this.
Mm-hmm.
You gave me fair warning that she plays better as a heel and who's just like kind of a crazy heel, just who does her own shit.
She's super badass.
Yeah. I'm kind of in now. I'm kind of in.
I think like it's a totally different character than they've let the Japanese women that have been in NXT as stars play in the past.
Yeah.
Like it's not like Asuka. Asuka's like more of like a psycho when she's a heel or a face. And then Kairi Sane's obviously like a happy-go-lucky pirate. Io Shirai's a bitch. She's a badass bitch.
Yeah, when she attacked Candice LeRae, I was like, dude, I don't know where that came from, but I am so in.
I mean, she's not the Blasian baddie, but she is a badass bitch.
And the other thing too is like, it's not like, oh, she's gonna align with Shayna now. It's like, no, fuck both of you.
She hates everybody. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, fuck all of you guys. I don't need your help, and I'm gonna beat her for the title. And then when it's time for me and Candice to feud, I'm gonna beat her too.
Yep. And don't even look at me, Bianca Belair. Don't even think about it.
Yeah, the EST? No, I don't think so. Yeah, she's great.
Undefeated.
You lost though. Undefeated. All right, we out. See you guys next week. Well, to be fair, we did get a little long-winded at the end of the show there, but I had to mention Io Shirai's performance in that cage match against old Shayna Baszler because I wasn't exactly sold on Io Shirai just yet. I've heard some great things from Joe, and I've read some great things, but actually seeing Io in action, I'm a fan. I'm into the act. Should be a lot of fun. Play a fun foil to Shayna and a couple other people. So this could be really fun in the NXT Women's Division. Stomping Grounds was what it was, and that's right, everybody. Sometimes even John Heidenreich makes an appearance on this here podcast. Speaking of which, if you'd like to subscribe to the pod, you can over on Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, the podcast app, and wherever else you do listen to your podcast. But as you will notice, I will not be mentioning Patreon anymore because I shut it down. The reality is I couldn't keep up with it, and I really didn't believe in it. I know that some people have asked about different ways they can support me and all the things that I'm doing, and that is obviously very much appreciated. So I'll tell you this. If you want to support my podcast or my Twitch page or just me in general and all the other shit that I'm doing, go to Coalesce and buy a shirt. That's the thing that would make me the happiest. Support that brand, which is something I'm working on very hard, both myself and with my team. And it's something that's really important to me. So, being a patron and stuff like that is cool, and throwing some money my way for everyone that has done that is really cool. But you know what? Get something tangible. Get something you think is cool. Head over to coalesceapparel.shop. Maybe you find something you like there. I'm going to have some new launches on July 1st. Spoiler alert, you get to hear that first before the public, I suppose, if you listen to the podcast. But yeah, I mean, I was never too big of a fan of Patreon. I really couldn't keep up with it, so I felt like I was kind of doing people a disservice. And so I decided to shut it down, and we move on to bigger and better things. And that's trying to continue to grow the Coalesce brand and work on a bunch of other cool stuff. So if that's how if you like to support me, I point you that way. But you don't have to. Do whatever you want. Listen to the show. Share it with your friends. That's better than anything. So I'm getting long-winded now, like we were at the end of the podcast, to be fair. So I'm going to close things out now. Got to pack and get ready to go to Pittsburgh for SCG Pittsburgh. And then I'll be back next week over the Independence Day holiday weekend. Do a little recording there with Papa Joe. And I should have a Magic podcast at the beginning of next week as well. So Jewel Vera will take us away. Thank you guys for listening. As always, you fucking rock. And Extreme Rules coming up soon. Hooray.
Just get out my mouth.